Wu-Tang Clan is a hip-hop group that's been around since the early 90s, and they're seen as being very influential for both the East Coast and hardcore hip-hop styles. Wu-Tang Clan has released a lot of music over the years, and in total they have 7 studio albums. They have hit number 1 on the charts multiple times and have sold millions of records and even went platinum. To say that this group is popular is a bit of an understatement. Although they're not really making new music nowadays, they're still touring and performing live as a group. I've recently had someone point out something interesting about their discography. I've mentioned just a few seconds ago that they have 7 studio albums. Not counting the recent soundtrack for their documentary, you're only really going to find 6 albums. You can go and listen to Enter the Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang Forever, The W, Iron Flag, 8 Diagrams, and A Better Tomorrow. But there's one more that's listed as being an album, but you're not going to find it anywhere. Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. If you decide to look it up, you're going to notice that it came out in 2015, but it's only ever sold 1 copy. Why is that? How can it be considered an album, and it's part of their discography, but you can't listen to it? It's kind of an interesting story. In the late 2000s, more than likely around 2007, the group began recording a new album. And not only does it feature all the members of the Wu-Tang Clan, but it also has some other features from people such as Cher and the Charisse Van Houten. The idea behind it was to take a jab at the value of music. So instead of having this be an album for everyone, it's considered more or less art. This album took over 6 years to make, and once it was finally pressed, it was only made into a single CD. Then it was placed in a jewel-encrusted box and locked away in a secured vault. In 2015, the CD was going to be auctioned off with the Panel 8 auction house, with the condition that this album could not be commercially released for 88 years. It could be played at things such as listening parties though. The auction reached $2 million, and the man who bought it had quite the reputation. The man who ended up purchasing it was Martin Shkreli, who was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and the man was at the time under scrutiny for a lot of business decisions. Because of this, the members of the Wu-Tang decided to donate a big portion of the proceeds to charity. Shkreli played around with the idea of either destroying it or releasing it under a specific circumstance, and then eventually in 2017 he just decided he wanted money for it instead. He ended up listing it up on eBay, but the auction never finished though. It got up to over $1 million, but a lot of legal issues caught up with Shkreli, and he was arrested and all of his assets were seized. There's a lot to talk about this man, but it's not really the time or the place to do so here. Instead of a person owning the record now, the US Department of Justice took control of the album. It stayed with them until 2021, but it was announced that it was used to pay off the debt owned by Shkreli, and this time the album sold for over $4 million. So, who owns Once Upon a Time in Shaolin now? It now sits with Pleasers DAO, a group of NFT investors. They have stated that they want to make the album more available, but the restrictions on Shkreli are still applied here, so it's not that easy. So, that's kind of it. That's where it stands now. One day it might leak online, or it might be played at a listening party. But until then, we just have to imagine exactly what it sounds like. The official song list isn't even revealed fully. We just have what Panel 8 was given, and that was an incomplete list. We might have to wait 88 years for the official release of this album, or we might get it sooner. We just have to kind of wait and see. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.